welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a topic that honestly causes quite a bit of panic for years 5 and 6 students, and for their parents too, tackling the brochure format in the NSW Selective High School Placement Test. But here is the secret, and we're going to reframe this right off the bat. Writing a brochure is not some intimidating graphic design challenge. You literally do not need to be an artist. Instead, I want you to think of it as a straightforward, highly effective communication tool. By the end of this explainer, you'll know exactly how to structure a winning brochure using absolutely nothing but your words. Here is our step-by-step game plan for today. First, decoding the brochure prompt. Second, audience and purpose first. Third, the core brochure structure. Fourth, essential language toolkit. Fifth, avoiding common exam mistakes. And finally, the 30-minute test strategy.
Let's kick things off right away with Section 1, Decoding the Brochure Prompt. So, let's clear up the absolute most common confusion students face the second that word brochure flashes onto their screen. According to the NSW English syllabus, a brochure is actually a hybrid text. Now, what does that actually mean for you in the exam room? Well, it means a brochure isn't just one single thing. Depending entirely on the prompt you get on test day, your brochure might need to inform families about a new school library, or advise on a conservation program, or persuade tourists to visit a park. Actually, more often than not, it needs to do all three at once. The whole point is to communicate selected, useful information quickly. The marker needs to be able to scan it and instantly grasp exactly what you're offering. Now, this brings us to a really critical question, and it's one you absolutely must have straight in your head before test day. What is the actual difference between a brochure and an advertisement? Because it's a huge myth that to write a brochure, students just need to slap down a loud, catchy ad. To put that into perspective, an advertisement is basically all about persuasion. It's the quick sell, it uses short, snappy slogans, it might just shout, "Adventure awaits, visit Wild World this weekend," and leave it at that. But a brochure? A brochure needs developed information. Even if your ultimate goal is persuading someone to visit a theme park, your brochure actually has to include sections explaining what the adventure is, what the kids can do, and what they'll learn. It's also different from a guide, which is basically a massive, lengthy manual or an advice sheet that just rattles off tips. A brochure is a hybrid. It combines all these purposes for a very specific target reader. So remember, the ad is the quick sell, but the brochure gives you the actual, useful details. Moving right along to Section 2, Audience and Purpose First. This is, hands down, the very first thing a student must do before typing a single letter on that keyboard. Before you even start brainstorming, you have to ask yourself 3 critical questions. 1, what must this brochure achieve? 2, who is going to read it? And 3, what specific information is the prompt demanding? Identifying your target reader is a total game changer. It dictates every choice you make. If you're writing about a wetlands park for young kids, you'd probably say something fun like ready to become a wildlife detective. But if you are pitching that exact same park to the local town council, you'd say something like protecting native habitat requires coordinated community action. Same location, completely different vocabulary. Your audience dictates everything. All right, let's dive into Section 3, the core brochure structure. So let's see how audience and purpose actually build into the structure of your response. Now, while there's no single compulsory template you must use, this flexible 4-step formula is amazing because it naturally forces you to organize your thoughts. It completely eliminates that dreaded blank screen panic. Step 1, start with a catchy title and a short hook to grab attention. Step 2, use clear, meaningful headings to break up your text so it's easy to read. Step 3, put concise but fully developed information under those headings. And Step 4, wrap it up with practical details or a suitable call to action if the prompt asks for it. It's a clean, incredibly logical flow. To show you exactly how this looks in practice, we're going to use a practice prompt about a new eco-discovery center. Let's look at this comparison to see it in action. A weak response usually relies on generic filler. Things like great walks, great animals, great views. Honestly, that could describe any park anywhere in the world. It tells the marker absolutely nothing about your writing ability. Now look at the strong version. Follow the 1.5-kilometer boardwalk through reed beds where waterbirds feed. Wow, right? That is powerful. It uses highly specific details to help the reader visually imagine the Eco-Discovery Center. A good rule of thumb? Weak headings will never, ever rescue weak content. The absolute crucial point here is mastering a high-value thinking pattern, moving from a simple feature to a meaningful benefit. A feature is just a basic fact about what the place offers, like walking tracks. But a benefit? A benefit answers the so what. It connects that feature to why it actually matters to your reader. So instead of just listing walking tracks, you write, easy walking tracks allow families to explore the wetlands without needing specialized equipment. You've just told a busy parent exactly why this matters to them. Doing this shows incredible maturity in your writing.
Next up, Section 4, Essential Language Toolkit.
Now that we have the structure locked down, let's shift our focus to the actual words you're choosing. Think of this as your essential language toolkit for making a brochure sound totally professional and engaging. Using these 3 techniques will instantly give your writing that authentic brochure feel. First up, direct address. Liberally use words like you and your. It makes the text personal. You can explore at your own pace. Second, imperative verbs. These are your bossy, action-oriented words that invite the reader in. Explore, discover, protect, join. And third, precise nouns. Instead of vaguely saying there are things to do, say investigate pond samples. Precision adds informative detail without wasting words. But I have to give you a quick warning about using persuasive techniques. Yes, you definitely want positive language, but you absolutely must avoid fake, empty exaggeration. Please don't write, "It is the world's most unbelievably magnificent park ever." It sounds a bit silly and totally lacks substance. Instead, focus on strong, positive, descriptive noun groups. Try something like, the shaded boardwalk gives families an easy way to observe wetland wildlife. It's informative, it's highly welcoming, and it proves to the marker that you have excellent vocabulary control without having to rely on empty, hyper-energetic slogans. Which brings us to Section 5, Avoiding Common Exam Mistakes. All right, it's time to talk about the traps. Here are the biggest pitfalls we see students fall into when the pressure of the exam is on. Number 1, treating the brochure like a loud, shouty advertisement. 2, over-designing. 3, ignoring parts of the prompt. 4, inventing wild, totally unnecessary fake statistics just to sound smart. And 5, and ironically enough, considering we're using them right now on this slide, using excessive bullet points. Bullet points are totally fine for a quick what-to-bring checklist at the end, but you should never write your entire exam response in bullet points. Why? Because this test is explicitly designed for you to demonstrate your sentence control and paragraph structure. You can't do that with just bullet points. We really need to be clear about the actual testing environment. This is a strict 30-minute computer-based exam. You communicate that you are writing a brochure through your text organization, meaning your title, your clearly separated sections, and your headings. You absolutely do not have time to spend 10 minutes trying to draw a fancy little logo using keyboard symbols or formatting elaborate multi-column layouts on your screen. The markers are grading the quality of your ideas, your vocabulary, and your grammar. Never, ever sacrifice your precious writing time for decorative design. Finally, we reach Section 6, the 30-minute test strategy. So how do we practically fit all of this into just half an hour? Well, while the Department of Education doesn't give you a strict minute-by-minute breakdown, this specific time split is highly recommended to ensure you get everything done efficiently. Step 1, spend your first 4 minutes planning. Turn the prompt into a mental checklist. Who's the audience? What sections are required? Step 2, spend 23 minutes writing. Prioritize answering that prompt, developing your core information, and maintaining good sentence control. And Step 3, you have to reserve those final 3 minutes for checking. I cannot stress this enough. Those final 3 minutes are absolute gold. Treat this as your rapid-fire checklist. Ask yourself, did I actually answer the exact topic? Is my target audience completely obvious based on the vocabulary I chose? Does every single heading actually have developed, useful information sitting underneath it? And finally, are my spelling and punctuation accurate? Catching just a couple of minor grammar errors or reining in a runaway sentence in these last 3 minutes can massively boost your overall score. I want to leave you with this central, defining takeaway today. A strong selective brochure should not just look like a brochure, it should work like one. Clear audience, clear purpose, useful information, and well-developed writing. It really is all about how you adapt your writing to the specific instructions when the clock is ticking. So parents and students, I leave you with this provocative thought to carry into your very next practice session. When you finish typing that draft, ask yourself honestly, did you just decorate a page to look the part, or did you write something that actually does the job? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and happy writing.